Instructional media, radio station, TV station. One of the main purposes of this plan is to position the college for future state funding. Now you have a bond, and some people say, well, we have this bond, why do we need more money? Well, not many people would say that, but typically in history, you've been able to augment your bond funds by as much as 25% from the state of California. Right now, there's zero. Next year, zero, and we think there's going to be nothing until probably the year 2012. But in the past, when the state has run out of money and not given any for facilities, when they had money again, the queue was already established, and you've got to have your place in line. Now, you already have your place in line with a couple of projects that WLC will talk about, but we want to get you in line for your next projects 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And that's what this plan is going to be good for. And so the first recommendation you're going to see in the plan is use this plan. Whenever you're talking about facilities, there are trade-offs. If you want to do something to classrooms in one place, it's going to have an impact throughout the campus. And this plan really identifies those dependencies. And it will be very helpful for you in the future. Some of the other recommendations, I'm not going to go through all of them. When you see the plan, you'll see the details. But to really identify the magnet programs and what makes Merritt such an outstanding institution, to continue that. Look at alternative delivery systems. That's a very important item for the future. Also, we have a concept called total cost of ownership, and it's in the plan. It's basically a way of looking at the total cost of a facility. It's not just the bricks and mortar. It's insurance and staffing and utilities and scheduled maintenance and all that kind of thing. We have some recommendations about the beautiful, wonderful land you have up here. There's been some of the input we heard was potentially to do student housing or to do different...
Can you go back to TCO?
Yeah.
See, for instance, right now you have 49,000 square footage area for building D, which is the assignable square footage area. Now, if we go build you a new allied head building and it's now 80,000, you need more custodians to be able to get the place clean. You need more funding down the line when the air condition is not working fine and you need stationary engineers to be able to go and fix it. So all of that cost that has now come about because you have this other building that is more in square footage area gets calculated as part of total cost of ownership. And also there's another terminology called building life cycle. So if that building goes for another 35 to 40 years, you need to do something to it so that it can be able to be usable and modern again to be able to undertake with curriculum. All right.
In discussing and hearing input from people here at the college about the use of the 38-acre parcel of land, our recommendation is that the college look into partnerships where the college isn't going to necessarily, we don't recommend they run, for example, a housing project of some sort or some other kind of joint use projects. And that can be a revenue source for the college. It can be a very helpful thing. Finally, there are some district-wide recommendations that we've made in our plan. Merritt is part of Peralta's district, of course, and there's going to have to be a lot of continued work among the colleges. One is the 5-year plan projects. These are the projects that are, like I said, are in the queue. And there are projects in the queue that WLC will address, but address future funding here, which is either a future bond or maybe one day the state of California will be solvent again and there'll be funding available. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Leo to take you through the facilities portion of the plan.
Are there any other questions for Dan on the education component?
I just have one. Where do computer labs fall into that allocation of space?
Yeah, computer labs fall into the lab classification. So they're part and parcel of labs. So whether it's a biology, chemistry lab, or a computer lab, or a machine shop, or not that you have it.
Okay, we had a listing for data
processing just means infrastructure data processing, server rooms that drive the systems for the whole college. Yeah. Yes?
And this may be going back over what Tom said. Again, there was a negative for classroom space in 2022, but there was a 2.4% growth in students. So how does the formula work? It's a growth in students and a decrease in need for classrooms.
Yeah, the question is that there's a growth rate of students and there's showing an overage in space, in classroom space. Well, the answer is that means you have
So much.
a lot more classroom space right now than you, quote, should need.
We're overbuilt.
You're overbuilt is the bottom line. And you'll be less overbuilt by the year 2022. However, you're overbuilt. Now, again, it might mean reconfiguring the spaces to be more usable. For example, a classroom with 50 seats in it, and the class only has 30 students, you're not utilizing the space to the level the state wants you to.
See, right now, there are certain time of the day or days of the week when you will come to the parking lot, you don't even see anybody walking around. So it's part of scheduling that we're looking at. How many hours per day are you utilizing every classroom? So if you do the matrix for that, you're going to see a lot of void that is happening in those columns for some rooms. So if you have some of those void, a lot of them, then the state says you are overbuilt. Maybe you don't need more state monies. That is why.
Right, and the converse of that is, if you utilize the facilities more, and you know the afternoons are booked out, and weekend college perhaps, or more evening classes, that will tell the state, hey, these people need more money for more facilities, and you'll qualify for more facilities.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dan. Now, we take Dan's information and we then shift over to what does that mean in terms of facilities? And the first part of that for us was the getting with all of you as part of the town hall study you see here, in which talked about what are your thoughts about the facilities. As you know, we had a session here that was very well attended and we got some good response. And these are some of the things that came out of that. Whoops, hit the wrong button again. These are some of the things that came out of that. And the comments that, these are some of the primary comments that were repeated over and over again as part and parcel of that session. Had to do with the campus drive entry, creating a campus core and a real identity to the center of the campus, basically find a center to the campus. You know, this is a beautiful facility. The grounds look great. The views are obviously wonderful, but there's no, where's the center to the campus here? You know, I don't know if anybody, the comments were that no one really could say where that was or what it was at this point in time. They wanted to have an area that they could have for events. There was some discussion about the Child Development Center being close to the actual Children's Center, and some of this nomenclature can sometimes get a little confusing. Child Development Center is actually a child development program, okay? And as we'll talk in a few minutes, you have your child development program, which has the ability to get new facilities, and the discussion was those facilities could be better used if it was closer to the actual Child Development Center that's actually on campus as well. There was a feeling from the students who were here that this building, the Student Services building, was a little too remote from the center of the campus, the heart of the campus, where most of the buildings are. That this was, although we have great views and everything up here, it's just a little too remote away from, and they didn't feel like it connected them to the campus as a whole, essentially. A large group of people wanted to get a swimming pool. And I think particularly since there was a time when in the original master plan for this campus, a pool was included there. But as you know, it's not here yet. There's some soccer field, bleachers at soccer field. The soccer field is used extensively, all the time, not only by the campus, but by outside groups, so there was some desire for that. And I know it's just been redone, but again, students are talking about a better student lounge, and I know you just had that redone, it's brand new, but people are still looking for more and a little better facilities. I think larger facilities too. Athletic facilities, there was a desire for a baseball field, and I think the president's working with some folks on that. And overall, there was a feeling that the buildings look very institutional.